Hello guys, DMT Go here, and today I'll be bringing you another Lakers talk video. And what I'm going to do with this video, I'm just going to talk about the Lakers in general. The trade deadline just occurred, and they grabbed up Kent Bazemore and Marshawn Brooks. But for Steve Blake, as many Lakers fans didn't want to see him leave because he's putting up great numbers, I got to say. And about that deal, I think the Lakers needed it. Ken Bazemore and Marshawn Brooks, it's not a bad pickup at all. Bazemore, he's a great defensive stopper, brings some athleticism to the table, and can also celebrate down there with Robert Sacre on the bench as well. So, I think Bazemore is a good pickup, is Wesson. Oh, nice stop, Kamen. So, and then on the other side, Marshawn Brooks coming to the Lakers as well. He's also a good player to pick up more youth to the table instead of having Steve Blake, which is more of a veteran player who wants to play for a team that actually has a chance of winning a championship. And the Lakers, they just don't bring that. They're not a team like that anymore. And it's hard to realize that as a Laker fan, but right now it's just got to deal with it.
Until they gave him a role as a student manager for the Wildcats, and that determination and resolve has served him well.
Okay, so overall, I think that trade deadline pickup was good for the Lakers because they got younger, as I said earlier, and Steve Blake was good, but just not what they need right now. They don't need a Steve Blake or a veteran point guard who's willing to call in the troops and win a championship, and Steve Blake is definitely not that guy. Now, Pau Gasol, he was not dealt in the trade deadline, and he probably won't be dealt anytime soon. His contract is coming up, and he's going to be an unrestricted free agent, so that'll get the Lakers, $19 million off the books for Pau Gasol's contract. And it's just a wonder if Pau will stay with the Lakers and try to win another championship and do an accelerated rebuild time for players such as Pau Gasol and Kobe Bryant. So, if Pau's going to go or not, who's going to fill in? Will it be Kevin Love, someone of that caliber? Lakers trying to lure him back to LA? I think it's plausible, knowing that he went to UCLA. Kevin Love is definitely an option. But Pau, is he going to be able to accept maybe like a $5 million contract and realize that the Lakers are in that rebuild stage and they can't, they're not willing to give Pau Gasol another $15 million because they don't trust his age for the team. Now, personally, I think the Lakers should just dump Pau Gasol because, I mean, who would want to be willing to take like a $5 million contract after all those great years in the Laker gold? Getting 2 championship rings, also his production in Memphis, you can't forget about that. But right now, that's all behind him. He's a veteran. He's not getting any younger, so I think it wouldn't be a bad time to release Pau Gasol. But this way that they're going with, since they didn't trade him at the deadline, they're not getting anything for Pau if Pau doesn't want to part ways and take the salary. Yeah, they're not getting anything. I remember the Suns, they tried to pull a trade and the Lakers didn't pull the trigger quick enough, so then the Suns, I guess they rethought their deal, and because the deal was going to be Pau Gasol for Emeka Okafor and a first-round pick. Now, obviously, Emeka Okafor isn't the bulk of the deal. The first-round pick is the bulk of the deal. It was by the Pacers, so it wouldn't be that great of a pick, honestly. It would be like a late 20s draft pick, and then even if they won, it would be a 30th. So basically a second-round pick for Pau Gasol. Emeka Okafor is just contract to help the deal go through, and he would be expiring as well. So there would be no problem with him leaving next year. Plus he was injured, so the trade would go through, and it would be good for the Lakers because they could get some value out of an aging Pau Gasol. See, this way, they're going to have to go to free agency. They're going to have to find what Pau Gasol wants and needs, and then either release him or give him the $7 million, which is hard to come by because you've already given Pau these great 3 years, 3 or 4, no, like 5 years in LA, and he wants to be with the city. So do the Lakers fans. They want Pau. I mean, all those Pau sucks chants, you know. It's not that bad right now. He's performing. He's playing well, and he's definitely a staple in the LA franchise.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, Lance Stevenson. And let's see what he can do. Oh! Pick it up. Okay, so that's the Pau part done out of this video. I think we're done discussing him. But what about Kobe? Is he going to come back? Kobe, I think it's 3 weeks until he's going to get his knee checked out. And that's a long time in the season. You're losing all that time to play some basketball for the Lakers, and especially Kobe Bryant. He can lift the team. He can put the team on his back, but right now it just isn't looking good. He's getting injured. The retirement is getting closer and closer to Kobe. Kobe is losing his battle with Father Time. It's hard to watch as a Laker fan, but it's happening. Next, how about Steve Nash? Is he going to come back? And if he doesn't, if he retires, is Kendall Marshall that guy to fill in for Steve right away? Because Marshall, he's playing well, but sometimes he can be inconsistent sometimes. Like, he'll have 9 assists and 10 points, but on the other end of that, he'll have 6 turnovers. Also, the defensive part. The Lakers definitely need a player who doesn't need to be coached to learn defense, because D'Antoni is just not that coach at all. He really isn't that coach. And if D'Antoni isn't that coach, should the Lakers get rid of D'Antoni? That's another question. Personally, I think they should. D'Antoni is not fit for a Lakers rebuild when he just runs the floor. Doesn't let his player, doesn't really have a defensive stance of it. But again, if they got rid of D'Antoni, they would also need a replacement. That's a filthy block. They would also need a replacement. And who will be that guy? Will it be Jerry Sloan? Will he come back out of retirement? Probably not. Will it be George Karl? Probably not. Could it be Brian Shaw? Maybe the Nuggets don't want him, but no, he's going to stay with the Nuggets. He's finally getting his head coaching job. He would get with the Lakers, but right now I think he's fit in Denver, and he's fine. Louis Scola. And this is just how they stack up against other teams such as the Pacers right here. You got Kendall Marshall versus George Hill. That's a good matchup. And then how are they going to match up with Paul George on the other end of it? A defensive stopper, and he can control the game. He can control the game as well, make some nice offensive plays, and really create for himself. The Lakers right now, they don't have anyone who can create offense for themselves besides Nick Young. And guess what? He's injured too. The injury bug has really hit the Lakers this season, not in a good way at all. This is pretty sad. The Lakers, they had a good chance with a couple years ago with Dwight Howard. They had Dwight Howard, not that old. Well, he was old, but he wasn't injured. He's barely been injured in his whole career. Steve Nash. And then you got a good as new Kobe Bryant, putting up definitely NBA first team numbers. And now it's just in LA, the winning has just changed. The whole value of the team is gone. Kobe's injured. Pau is sometimes injured. He's on and off. He's inconsistent. And then you got Steve Nash. He could retire. Retirement is getting very close for Steve Nash. So is he going to close the door and just really give the Lakers nothing in his contract with LA? So who will fill in? Will they get a good draft pick? Because right now, I think they're 14th, and in the whole NBA, they're 25th or something. So they'll get the 25th, the 5th pick. Now the 5th pick is great. They could get, let's say, Joel Embiid or Jabari Parker goes first. I'm going to go with Jabari Parker, then Joel Embiid goes. Then Andrew Wiggins falls down to 3rd. Who can they get? Because everything, you get Julius Randle. But do they need another power forward? Because if they're going to take Powell back and or get Kevin Love, then why would they need a guy like Julius Randle? Who would be that guy? Because I think their main goal is to get a small forward who can just play lockdown D and score a little bit. And I'm not sure who that is. Nobody's sure who that is. I think Kendall Marshall can definitely be a long-time fit in the Laker gold, but will Kendall Marshall be too inconsistent to take that? Oh God. To take that role? Is he your everyday starting 10 and 10 point guard? Can he match up to the likes of Steve Nash and fill in for that role? I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet. We've only seen half a good season from Kendall and nothing more. What about the assets they can get in free agency? Maybe a Greg Monroe? I'm not sure. Come on, Sacre. There we go, Sacre. So the video is coming to a close in 2 minutes. I'm just getting my thoughts on the Lakers, going on and on about all of the little aspects about the Lakers, because right now I just don't know what to do. What should the Lakers do? They're going to play the Nets tonight. They beat the Celtics. And I'm not sure how they match up to the teams of Oklahoma City, Thunder, Miami. You know those teams. How can they match up? How are they going to guard LeBron, D-Wade, Carmelo Anthony even? They don't really have that guy. Or they don't have that guy to go right back at LeBron and Melo because Kobe's out. And the whole 2 or 3 year plan was to get Kobe, Dwight Powell, Nash all on the same team and then win a championship. Beat the Miami Heat. Dethrone them, but that obviously did not work at all. The injuries have not been nice to the Lakers in the past 2 years or so, and it doesn't look like it's getting any better, because I mean, this is not Laker territory having players such as Wesley Johnson or Jody Meeks or Chris Kaman even starting. It's usually you got your superstar Kobe, and then you got those players like Lamar Odom or Dwight Howard or Pau Gasol. But no one's there right now. No one is there. Pau's getting older. Everyone's getting older, and the window is closing for a championship. That's for sure. Now, should they go into a full rebuild, or should they wait for Kobe and then try to build some assets around Kobe while he still has a little bit of gas in him? So, should they go full rebuild, or just a little retooling stage where they get supporting players to play with Kobe and let Kobe just play his game, score 30 points a night, and lead the Lakers to a victory? That is the question. What's going to happen to the Lakers? When are they going to get back to that championship? I don't know. You guys can leave your comments down below. and see what should happen. I think they should get rid of D'Antoni. First of all, get rid of D'Antoni. Second of all, build some pieces around Kobe, get him healthy, and then I think the Lakers should be another playoff team and get back to that Western Conference Finals against the Thunder. So, those are my thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later. Okay, so I really don't know who the future of this team is. Is it Kendall Marshall? Is it, and how about two? Or is it No. So is it Kendall Marshall? Could it be someone in free agency or someone in the draft? Andrew Wiggins? And it does Jabari Parker, Joel Embiid. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I'll just go with that. Is it one of them? Or do they build through free agency? Do they
Everything from this moment on depends entirely on you. All your life's